Welcome, everybody. So pleased to see you here again. Isla Reddin and Marelise Culbert in our conversation about parenting. And today is episode 22 of Walk the Talk. And our topic today comes from a post that I did on Instagram and Facebook just recently. And I want to encourage you to follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Isla Reddin or Isla M Reddin on Instagram. And my post was really about, is your child pushing you away? And what are the ways in which we respond when we feel that the frustration, the anger, the despair almost of being pushed away when all we're trying to do is get connection and get closer. And that is a reality at any age. But we're going to start with this idea that I'm just going to pull from my Facebook post here, that we're not actually being rejected in that moment. What we're dealing with is a child that is overwhelmed by their own emotions. And our intuitive reaction is we're trying to accomplish something in our communication. So we're trying to get something done, or we're trying to get an answer. And then we get that eye roll, or we get the door slam, or we get absolutely nothing. We get complete and utter silence. We're ignored. All of that we automatically take as rejection, which it is. They don't want us in their space at that moment in time. But the key there for all of those kinds of behaviors is to stay curious and to not be confrontational, because it's not a moment that our child can actually handle well. So as Marelise and I were talking a little bit before we started recording this, Marelise has her own experience of that to share.
What I was highlighting, thank you, Isla. What I was highlighting was my desire to have this kind of understanding when I was dealing with an instant family situation. And I came in, I inherited two teens on the spot, and I was so not prepared for it because I was so overwhelmed with this new situation because there was also a younger child. And you're just trying to maintain some form of control. You're just trying to face whatever is coming your way in the best possible way. And there's no run up to this, no gentle preparation for all of this. It just comes at you. And thing is, the tendency was to correct and not connect because we are too overwhelmed in this moment to even consider what else might be going on, to even consider that the reaction that you're getting is not actually based on anything that you've done. It's because of their inability to deal with the situation. And this is why I said I think it's so important for us to talk about this, because later on, as I learned more and as I studied more and as I you know spoke to more parents, I realized it wasn't just me. I wish someone had told me this. I thought I was just failing miserably, when in fact, this is actually pretty normal. And to then learn, okay, yes, my focus was probably wrong. Yes, I could have dealt with this so much better. But who knew? In that situation, there was no one there to actually point me in the right direction, which is why I think it's so important for us to talk about this. Because I know I was not alone in that situation, and I know parents who are still dealing with this every single day. So this is especially for you. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so the part of that kind of rejection, because that goes with their emotion, what is generally so difficult for us as parents to manage is, if we can see, if we observe that things are not okay, And we, instead of leading with being angry or with our feelings of rejection, instead of leading with that, we lead with the curiosity. And then we ask questions. One of the things that is very difficult for us as parents is we don't get answers that make any sense to us. So when we ask our child how they're feeling, and I'm talking here of an older child, because if you ask a 3-year-old how they're feeling, you're not going to get very
Mm,
much feedback there that's going to make any sense. But if
yes.
you ask an older child how they're feeling, even like a 15 or 16-year-old, the reality is they don't really know that they don't know to be able to put words on it. So they that how, the value of as kids are younger, being able to name emotions so that they can start to develop an emotional vocabulary is so important because in those later years, the emotion is the most important thing that is happening in their lives. Everything, the way the brain's developing, everything is being led by emotion and feeling, and yet
Mm.
they don't have the vocabulary to be able to tell you how they're feeling or to even be able to say it to themselves. I just feel bad. I feel horrible. I want all of this to go away. I don't want to feel like this. So being aware of the fact that even when we're witnessing that sense of that there's an emotional, really they're not okay, not getting angry or frustrated because they can't actually tell us is also important because often
Yeah.
they don't know how to tell us.
Um, that Isla, and then yet where I also found that where children are possibly more educated because of all the mental conditions that they are being taught about in schools, etc. Uh, you know, to then be able to pinpoint the emotion, but then today I feel like this, tomorrow I feel like that, tomorrow I feel like, the next day I feel like this, the next thing. And you start thinking, oh my gosh, you are so scrambled. I can't even make sense of you, which is also normal because of the hormonal changes that they're experiencing. So then again, even if you're getting like all these different things every day, to say, okay, that is actually quite possible. They haven't lost the plot. They are not completely crazy. Um, they are going through all of this because of the hormonal changes that they are experiencing. So just bear with it. Don't take it personally. Don't tell them they're nuts. And try and help them navigate through it and be an ear and a shoulder that allows them the safe space that they need to be able to verbalize all of this, even if it doesn't make sense, because there's an acceptance that comes with it. I think that's incredibly important because, again, along with the correction, um, there's a need to quickly name it, sometimes shame it, and just get on with it, which is the last thing one should do,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Mm.
yes, I absolutely agree. I think that because we as parents, we recognize something, we know it, and therefore we know it, we assume everybody else knows it too. And that's not the case. So, one of the things that I encourage, you know, I was the parent who didn't get it right. So we always have to start with that. But encouraging parents to see themselves as walking alongside their child, as opposed to being, so you're the guide, you're the coach, you're not the you're not in control. There, you have actually no control whatsoever once they get into those teenage years. What you have earned respect, and you've earned your ability to be able to make a suggestion and be a guide and everything else. But If you think that you've got control, you're very mistaken. That in itself is a problem, because
Mm,
you may have control inside the four walls of your own house, but as soon as that child goes out the door,
yes.
there's going to be
And
another.
don't be the judge, be the mentor. That's something that I learned is instead of trying to put a name to it and instead of trying to judge the situation, as you said, be the guide, be be the one who can in that moment bring them to a greater conclusion because you are listening, you are hearing, and you are receiving what they are putting down instead of trying to be that controlling measure. It's like, yes, you can feel that. No, you're not. You can't feel that. Because that's what we do. We just try to move everyone forward as fast as possible, and that's how that's pretty much how we were raised as well. So we've all learned over the last couple of years, especially there are better ways. It's not necessary to be that. And to then just know it's okay to go through all of this with your child. It's normal. You're not doing something wrong. They're not rejecting you. And they're possibly needing you more than ever. And that a loving ear and a very, very wide open heart will probably achieve a much greater result in any given moment.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree.
Yeah. I
And maybe
wish I knew that earlier. Yes.
we can close this. I think that this idea of how we as parents can just kind of step back from whatever the drama is that is playing out, that we don't dive in after our kids. We stay back. We're the calm ones to manage it all. So
Yes. Thank you. I wish I found you 20 years ago. Could have made my life much easier. And I'm sure my children would have been very grateful as well. Anyway, we live and learn.
as you said, hindsight is, well, for me too, right? Hindsight
Mm,
is 2020. But to those parents listening, when you need support, ask for it and demand it.
mm,
Don't allow other people to say everything's fine if you know in your heart that it's not. If you need help, go get it. It's really, really important. So, okay, on that, we'll close for today and see you next time.
bye.